Hello, everybody. Welcome into the NBA Front Office Show. Day 2 of free agency. I don't want to say in the books because you never know when something could break. I hope we get to use the breaking news button tonight. That would be a lot of fun, but we're going to break down what's happened so far in free agency. Keith, our second show of the day, and we've got more stuff to dive into here.
Yeah, we very busy overnight, and then a very busy morning while we were in the midst of recording, and then we finished up. And as it's been for us, like feels like for a week or two now, we hit stop, we finish, and then another news story comes out. This one was the Derek White extension, followed by the Celtics are for sale, followed by the Jason Tatum extension. Then a bunch of other stuff happened too. It was like bing, 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 all in a row. Just incredible stuff, here. So yeah, free agency, it's moving.
Why are the Celtics selling? Why? What is happening? Is this we won quick, get out as fast as we can? Is this just franchise valuations are through the roof? All of the above? What's going on?
I think so. It's Wick Grousbeck who's the primary owner. He has owned the team for a while now. I think for him it was I want to get the team over the top one more time for that championship. And then, like we've seen a handful of other owners do in recent years, I'm going to cash out while the getting's good. I don't know what they're going to sell for. It's going to be a massive valuation. Like I can only imagine it's one of the most valuable franchises in sports. So it's going to be way, way up there. And I think for him, it's a chance to cash out. Chris Mannix had a really interesting thing about how some owners are very wary of the local TV money that's coming in, that whole process could change as they split the national product into more and more pieces that may take more games out of the local market, and
Right.
that could look like a completely different thing. Adam Silver's openly said local TV may change completely, as it comes around. So I really don't know, if that's an impact or not. But my guess is this is just a chance to let's cash out and take a whole bunch of money here, and get out while the getting's good.
Yeah, I mean that makes some sense. There's a point too, Keith, when you could say franchise valuation when you're going to get whatever it's going to be 6-7 billion
Yeah.
with the capital, but like there's a point where you're just looking at it going, okay, realistically, is my quality of life changing if I sell now for 6 billion versus if I hold on for another 20 years and I get 10 billion? No, probably not. So if now is the time when I feel like it's the right move, yeah, then you make it and you move on. So, but it is kind of funny. Give out all these big extension, commit all this. I mean, the biggest contract ever in the history of the NBA, and I'm out. Nope. Yep. Here you go. But I'm not going to be the one paying it. See you later.
Yeah, I love that they literally are like, here's $500 million in contracts, but I'm not paying those taxes. Bye.
Yeah.
Now, it is going to be a stretched out sale process. He said it's going to start, in the next couple years here, and then he'll fully exit by 2028 is the plan. It seems like that's kind of how the NBA wants to do this. I don't know that they want it. I think they either want it done and it's the whole thing, or let's kind of move. Wick Grousbeck's also done. He's been involved in a lot of stuff for the league on various committees and the like too. So I'm sure for Adam Silver, he doesn't necessarily want to lose him. But that's enough about that stuff because that's not presumably changing anything. Let's talk to contract extensions because we can get through them very quickly. Jason Tatum and Derek White now locked in too. They're in with this core for the next couple of years, like at least, because Porzingis and Holiday are also under contract. Brown's extension started this year. The only one of the top 6 who's not under contract past this season is Al Horford, and he kind of left it as, yeah, we'll go year to year from now on out. He is playing next season or this upcoming season, but kind of left it as we'll go from there. So, I mean, all we ever ask for is if you're good, write the checks, spend what it takes from an ownership group, from a front office, keep the guys around. If you're a good team, well, they put their money where their mouth is and they're signing everybody. Derek White got the most he could get. And obviously, Jason Tatum got the biggest contract in NBA history until the next one. right?
Until then, right?
Next year,
Yes.
Luke will come along and knock it off because that's just kind of
Mhm.
how it is. But yeah, I am. There's not a lot of analysis there because good for them. Minus White probably left some money on the table given the way things have looked. He probably could have got a 35 or $40 million a year contract next year in free agency, but he's happy there. He's got a young family now. I think he has 2 kids now that were born since he's been with the Celtics. So he talked about how, like, hey, we love it here. We want to be here. His dad's from the area. His dad's a huge Celtics fan. So it seems like he's very happy there. So, hey, good for Boston for getting him.
All right, let's get into some of the moves and things like that.
This guy has a comment for you. He said the hat's disgusting. He must be talking to you.
He's talking about your hat.
No, I think he's talking
green.
about your hat.
It's an offensive green.
Likes it. No, it's very nice. It's beautiful. It's Kelly green.
Is that really what it is?
Yeah, it's Kelly green. Dude, your team wears purple and they call it foreign blue. It's purple.
Yeah, it's like it just kind of the shade shifted over the years or something. And
I don't get it.
It's weird.
They make these colors up. Like there used to be like 8 when I was a kid. Back in my day in the crayon box, there's 8 colors and that's enough.
We used to call red gold and blue yellow.
Yep. Yeah. If you wanted, if you wanted to color something white, you just got a blank piece of paper and drew around it.
That's right. That's right. Okay, let's get into some of our signings here before we go too far. I've got like 3 more shows to do tonight. I don't know. I mean, I'll probably pass out before I get through it all. But let's get into some of these. There's no way to organize these by date, correct?
You know what? I don't know if on that view, I don't think there is.
Okay.
So I'll pull something up. I'll tell you where to stop at 1. Isaiah Hartenstein. Right? I don't think we talked that one, did we?
Maybe we talked to him this morning.
We did talk to him. So there was a comment in the chat. Somebody said the CBA screwed the Knicks out of Isaiah Hartenstein. It had nothing to do with the CBA. They only had early bird rights. Yep. I mean, I guess it's part of the CBA, but it's got nothing to do with the new CBA, to be clear with that. So, yeah, we did get in all the Thunder stuff.
The big one, I guess, is Klay.
Klay, yeah, let's go there.
That's the first one that's right there. Landed with the Mavs. Now it's going to be a sign and trade, and it's going to be a 3-team sign and trade. Sending Josh Green to the Hornets. You have a couple of seconds going to Golden State, and then Klay getting a 3-year, $50 million deal with the Mavs. I don't recall if there were any other pieces involved. I think something has to go.
That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, there might be something else that comes in, but I think for now that's all we know.
Okay, so that's the basis of the deal, and now the Mavs 3-year straight deal. I believe they used the Tim Hardaway Jr. trade exception to make this work.
I think so. We'll see. They should have been close enough to match with Josh Green. Either way, it'll hard cap them at the first apron. Right. Which they're going to get hard capped anyway from the Najee Marshall signing. So it's kind of once you're hard capped that it's about
just pile them up.
Things.
Yeah. Accept the player via sign and trade. You can do all the things. You might as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear this. We have an insane thunderstorm going on outside right now. But yeah, you're absolutely right. So Klay Thompson is headed off to Dallas. I think the number probably came in slightly lower than maybe where we thought. I thought he might get maybe a little bit more, but clearly he was done with the Warriors. There was a lot of reporting that came out. I was watching a couple different shows about how Richard Jefferson said when he broadcast their Christmas Day game, Klay Thompson was like, he's like, "You okay, man? Like, just you'll get out of the shooting slump." But he's like, "Man, it's not about that. They need to pay me." So like that was at Christmas, like that apparently that conversation happened. So clearly he was unhappy, and this thing looked like it was done long after that. So yeah, so now Klay Thompson headed off to Dallas. I like to pick up for the Mavs. I think this gives them another wing shooter. It's going to be amazing for Luka. Kyrie turn the corner on those pick and rolls. can't help off Klay, even this version of Klay. You have to stay close to him. I do think they downgrade defensively because I thought Derek Jones Jr. was very good for them defensively. Sure. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with the pickup from the Dallas side. From Klay's side, I mean, I guess like Dallas was in the finals. Why not? If you feel like that boosts you closer to winning another title, like, yeah, go get your money.
He's just dreaming of getting kickouts all day from Luka and Kyrie when they get into the paint. Isn't it crazy? Like if you were talking to somebody 5 years ago and you said getting Klay is a defensive downgrade.
Yeah, that'd be
right.
Like, what happened?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's true.
Well, somebody would probably be like, did he suffer a major injury? And then you'd be like, actually, yes, he does go on to suffer 2 major injuries in back-to-back years and miss basically 2 years of his career from it. So,
yeah. You got it all right here in Gray's Sports Almanac. All you got to do is look it up.
Oh, man. Millions.
All right. Let me try and scroll down here so I can find the next deals.
Well, I want to talk to Josh Green piece very quickly. I like Josh Green. I thought Josh Green was one of the Mavs' better players in the finals. He actually was not afraid to shoot. I thought he stepped right into the moment. I like his defense. There's kind of a war where I kind of like Josh Green better than Klay Thompson in some ways. I know that probably seems crazy, but he's just so much younger. But Josh Green, I think he's a nice player. And for Charlotte, just kind of jumping in to help facilitate, good on them, right? They get to jump in. Now, what we don't know with Charlotte is how they're going to put this together. They have the option of staying over the cap and bringing in Josh Green via the mid-level exception, which they're probably not going to use to sign anybody. So they could bring him in that way. You can use that as a trade exception. Or they can go into a spot where they can go under the cap and bring them in via cap space. So that'll all get sorted out here. Charlotte pieces together whatever else they're doing this offseason. But I like Josh Green. I think on a Charlotte team that needs anybody who will play any kind of defense, good addition for them to kind of throw them out there between Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball. I think that's a nice pickup for the Hornets, considering they just kind of jumped in to help out.
Yeah, right. Just as the helper, they wind up getting Josh Green. So, and that's a guy that they've apparently had their eye on for a little bit. So, I mean, opportunistic moment there for the Hornets to jump in and grab him. Goga, who was, I mean, everyone's fault, at least among fan bases, poking around the league. All of these teams that need centers right now, every fan base was saying, please go get Goga, because they look at the market. It is thin. And so everybody was saying, just go get Goga, just go get Goga. And then, I mean, he winds up getting 3 years, $25 million. Everybody was kind of penciling him in as a vet min. Not this year, man. Drew Eubanks is getting $10 million. Those veteran minimum guys just don't seem to be out there at the center position. Goga winds up getting 3 years, $25 million for the Magic. Does this mean anything for the return of Mo Wagner if Goga is getting that kind of salary committed to him?
It could. Now, Orlando had enough cap space to do this and keep him around. And so the Magic are going to have to do some level of renouncing free agents to get to the cap space to sign Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Unless this is the hard thing. There's always the chance these things get expanded into some version of a sign and trade and things like that could happen. But generally, we assume simple is best, and they'll just sign him with that way. So I think that'll be how that goes. But that they should still have more than enough cap space to go re-sign Goga to this deal. Gary Harris was also brought back in Orlando. They've really liked Gary Harris, so now they're basically running it back with last year's backcourt. I would assume Markelle Fultz is now out of the mix. There's just not room for him anymore in that backcourt. So I think this is a really good re-signing. Could they keep Mo Wagner? Sure. That's certainly possible. Will they? I kind of don't know. One of the things that is rumored, though, is Wendell Carter Jr. is somebody a lot of teams are calling on and thinking maybe we could snag him in a trade. And I think there's a world where Orlando, pending what the return for Carter Jr. is, could be okay going into next season with Goga Bitadze and Mo Wagner, re-signed Mo Wagner as their 2 center options. Because the other thing, Jake Fisher pointed this out, part of what the Magic want to use their remaining cap space to do is renegotiate and extend Jonathan Isaac, which would be, my guess is they'll bump his deal up a little bit and then get him on a much lower number for the next couple of years. Kind of what happened with Miles Turner. It's almost like a front-loaded signing bonus because you can go way up using cap space on this year's number, and then you could drop it by as much as 40% the season after that. So it's a good way to it's really the only way in the NBA you can extremely front-load a contract.
All right. That'd be interesting. None of the 2-year deals, second-year non-guaranteed stuff that we saw with the Mo Bamba contract and things like that Orlando's done in the past?
Maybe. We don't know yet. I mean, Batadze wouldn't. I think somebody said that last year is a team option, which that would make sense. I would assume Harris's second year is either non-guaranteed or a team option. Orlando likes to protect themselves, not taking on that second year. If they can get out of it, they want to give themselves the out to get out of it. So yeah, I would not be surprised, when we get those final details that come out, if that's how those were put together.
All right, let's go to De'Anthony Melton, who picks up what looks like a mid-level exception deal with the Warriors. $12.8 million. De'Anthony Melton on a 1-year deal. He spent much of last season hurt, Keith, but when he was healthy, he's really good. Like, I think people, because he spent so much of the season hurt, people have forgotten how good he was. I mean, I think this is a great gamble. Something of a prove-it contract. There were some rumblings because I think he was making like $8 million on his contract with Philly before this, that he was going to get upwards of that MLE number. But by reducing it to just 1 year, not committing multiple years at this MLE number, I think you are limiting your risk to a degree, with the potential downside being that you're not going to get his bird rights here with this deal. So should De'Anthony Melton truly blow up and have a huge, and I don't know that we can project that, but have a really big season, maybe the Warriors find it a little bit tricky as far as hanging on to him. That's kind of the downside of a 1-year contract, but I understand mitigating the risk for a guy who, while showing a lot of talent, did spend the majority of last season on the bench.
And that's part of why it's a 1-year deal. I talked to several people around the league, and they were like, we like him, but we won't go longer than a year. And if we go 2 years, second year is going to be team option, non-guaranteed. We're going to be protected because it's a back issue. And anytime it's a back issue, those are one where teams are still like, because that can just come up again. If it comes up again, now we're out the money, we're out the roster spot. It gets tough. I like the upside shot for the Warriors. Get in another ball handler, playmaker. They don't really have that on their bench behind Stephen Curry because there are other guards. They're like Gary Payton II, who's much more of a defender, play finisher. He's not somebody who's going to get the ball and be able to run things through him. So I think this is a really good pickup for them. But like you said, if Melton really pops, then where do you go? Now, I think his non-bird rights are probably enough at this point in his career to just give him the next contract based off of that. And then he can kind of keep moving forward. But yeah, if he really, really popped and was like, holy cow, now we're going to pay him $20 million, they won't be able to do that. And then he'll probably be moving on to somewhere else in free agency next year.
Non-bird could get him, 120% of his previous salary?
Yep.
So give him a decent little.
Wait, that might have changed to 140. I'll have to check. I think it's 120.
Okay. If it did change to 140, that makes a big difference. But even 120 should be. Yeah, that's a pretty significant little boost for him there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like what? That'd be a fifth of this contract, so it's like what, about $2.5 million, bumps him up close to 15 million. So yeah. I will double check on that, but yeah.
All right. Let's jump over the guy that we thought. In fact, I think it was when at this point, Keith, it's all a blur. I think we were live this morning. We talked about, or I may have had this conversation in my head. I just never really know. Nicholas Batum, and we talked about him being connected to the Spurs. He ultimately lands back with the Clippers on a 2-year deal, almost $10 million. Yep. What is this? Is this the non-taxpayer that they're using?
Biannual exception.
Oh, this is the biannual. Yes. Yeah. I still have in my head biannual's 4.5, but that's last year.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and it's interesting because remember they're using the bulk of the non-taxpayer to sign Derek Jones Jr.
Right.
You know my love of the movie Moneyball, because if they make a
Mm-hmm.
movie about a front office, I have been saying in writing the Clippers can't replace Paul George, but they can replace Paul George in the aggregate. And that's what they're trying to do. Nick
Giambi.
Batum, Derek Jones Jr., a little bit more from Terrence Mann, a little bit more from Amir Coffey. You're trying to replace him in the aggregate.
So what you're telling me is Nick Batum gets on base?
I mean, I guess he does something. I don't know what the equivalent is in the NBA, but that's what they're trying to do. So, I mean, and why not, right? Because you weren't going to go out and sign a star guy. That didn't seem to be in play here. So, yeah, Batum was not happy when he got traded. Remember, there was all
Mm-hmm.
like, is he actually going to go to Philly? What is it like? And that was a lot of people were saying he's probably coming back to LA. That was one of the things that had been rumored out there, that he was probably going to want to finish. There was a thought maybe he might stay on the East Coast because it's closer to France. But in the end, it was funny though when this got put in here. I was looking and I'm like, what in the heck is that? I forgot the Clippers have a new logo for next year, so
Oh, that's
we're already using
right.
their new
They've got
logo.
the Royal Caribbean logo.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, looks like a cruise ship. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but yeah, it's I like this value for the Clippers. I mean, $5 million a year, whatever. That's fine. Nick Batum played really well for them, played well in Philly. So yeah, I think I'm okay with this. I like this deal for LA.
Okay, so we talked. Did we talk Aaron Holiday?
I don't think so because
Maybe we
it
didn't.
happened after. Yeah,
Okay.
same deal. He's getting a biannual exception to stay with the Rockets. This is a depth play for Houston. He was really pretty good for them when they were behind or when Amen Thompson was injured, and then had
Mm-hmm.
they kind of brought him along slowly and didn't just say, "Hey, you're going to be our backup point guard." Holiday played well, and this is generally we got in the habit of thinking third point guards get the minimum. But if you've got one you really kind of like, you can bump them a little bit. And I like this. And then it's a team option on the second year. So really it's functionally a 1 year deal for
Mm-hmm.
4.6 million or so, which is fine.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, especially again, not to beat a dead horse here, but we've talked about this. It's more about the years than the money
Yep.
for a lot of teams right now, and so you can't complain there on that one.
Yep.
I want to say we talked Eric Gordon, maybe
Yep.
Garrett Temple.
Yeah,
I think that may have been the next one we didn't talk.
Garrett Temple's the new Udonis Haslam, I guess. Like just
Apparently,
good locker room guy that people love. So
yeah.
Get him in there with this. So yep.
The Bucks get a defensive guard with DeLon Wright, something they certainly needed. I thought that was going from Drew Holiday to Damian Lillard. Obviously, there is some. It's an offensive ceiling raiser, but it also lowers your floor on the defensive side of the ball, and that was something that did seem to hurt Milwaukee. And I'm not suggesting DeLon Wright fixes that, but he does give you a bit more of a defensive presence in that backcourt. I mean, a little bit older here at 32, but given the price tag and the amount of year in 1 year, I like that move for Milwaukee. Not that this changes a ton about their club, but this is the type of guard you should be looking to try to add to this backcourt.
Yeah, absolutely. And they needed another ball handler in the worst way because last year they piecemealed it together when Damian Lillard was out, and it didn't always go very well for them. So a lot of people were like, why didn't they just bring back Patrick Beverley? I wouldn't fully rule it out, but I kind of wonder if they were like, we just don't want to deal with it. Like, there's just a lot when you have him. So I don't know if that's where they're at. We'll see. Ultimately, I expect he'll probably land somewhere. You got to remember, does have that suspension coming right from all.
We have 4 games, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. So we'll see with that. But yeah, I like the DeLon Wright pickup, especially on a minimum. This is just where the what the Bucks have to do. They're kind of like where the Suns are at. They're gonna play minimum roulette and just hope the right wheel lands on the right spot, a couple times and go from there. So the one that's interesting, yes, right now. We're showing Chris Dunn as going to the Clippers, but it's because we
Palmer
don't really
can afford
know
it,
the deal.
Chris. Get your money.
Yeah, that's it, man. But yeah, we it's just because there was signing was reported. We don't necessarily know what the deal terms are. Chris Haynes reported that Jake Fisher said the Clippers are working out a sign and trade,
I saw
which
that.
is a little weird with the Jazz. I don't like that. That's got me interested now from like, why is this a sign and trade?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Chris Dunn over the last couple years really got his career on track. Really, he's a great defensive guard. That's going to give them a ball handler. It sounds like they're going to trade Russell Westbrook. So they need somebody behind James Harden that can handle the ball handling on that second unit. And I think there's worlds where obviously Chris Dunn can probably play with James Harden. I think the Clippers are going to have to get really creative this year with some of their lineup constructions, just with the way they build out the rotation because of no Paul George. And yes, they've gotten used to not having Paul George, not having Kawhi, but you just got to you can't let it all fall to, all right, well, James Harden can play 40 minutes a night. He just can't do that at this point in his career. So get Chris Dunn. That's a nice pickup.
Yeah, really good defensive guard added there. All right. Why don't we get through some of our super chats here?
Yeah. And then we can go through some of the best players remaining and that as we go on.
Okay, we've got a lot of angry Lakers fans in here.
Oh, I'm sure.
Blow it up, trade AD, start again. Do the Lakers know free agency has started? No. And look, I've been trying to preach patience, Keith. I've been trying. People have been getting very angry with me for preaching patience. I've been trying to say, we don't know what the move is just yet. They missed on Klay. I will admit, though, Keith, my hope was that just like after Kawhi, a backup plan was already going to be in place and that would be executed quickly.
Yeah.
That did not happen.
No.
And the little whispers I've been hearing have not been good. I'm concerned about what's going on here at this point. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. I think it's kind of DeMar DeRozan or bust at this point in terms of getting somebody on a mid-level exception that LeBron would say, yeah, I'll take less for that guy. I think that's probably it. Maybe Miles Bridges, but that, and that one, I know we talked about it, but yeah, that's probably the situation the Lakers are in right now.
And maybe there's a trade too, right, where they take back more than they send out, because that would be the same thing that would hard cap them at the first apron. So maybe there's something that LeBron's willing to work with in there. But yeah, my guess is, and they talked about it tonight. ESPN did their free agency show. I don't know if you caught any of it, but they talked about it tonight. Brian Windhorst, who's generally pretty good and tapped in on LeBron related stuff and Team USA stuff, said LeBron is 100% serious. Like, I'm not going to that training camp without like clarity. Like it will be done by the time he heads off to training camp, but that's coming up here in the next few days. So this is, it's tough because I saw some people on the show you did earlier today. I think it was with Sean. I hopped in there for a couple minutes and I saw some people saying, well, that's crappy of LeBron. He should just take less anyway. Well, why? Like, just taking less anyway.
If you're not getting it before,
yeah, right. Exactly. Well, if you're getting someone, like 100% go with that, but like if it's just to do it, like he doesn't, like, this isn't a charity. He doesn't owe them anything. So, yeah,
I've heard this from a few perspectives. One being that LeBron kind of knew what may happen here, and that he kind of set up Rob Pelinka, because I mean this all comes crashing down on Rob right now, right? Sure. Like if they don't use this mid-level exception, like they pull a trade, well, they could pretty much do that anyway, unless they would have been, taking back more salary than they were sending out or something, which would have triggered that hard cap at the first tier. So, but you could pull a trade anyway, but actually using that mid-level exception, if they don't do that, it's not going to look good on Rob Pelinka. And then the targets, now you could quibble over Jonas Valanciunas for sure, but the targets, James Harden, maybe DeMar DeRozan, Klay Thompson, those are not really mid-level exception guys. So did you set Rob on like an impossible task, knowing it would come back on him? As the funny tweet has been going around that LeBron James basically bet Rob Pelinka $20 million that Rob can't do his job.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
But there's different ways to look at this. But the bottom line is, I think Lakers fans have a reason to be frustrated at this point, and
100%.
you're just kind of hoping each moment that they do something, because as more players come off the board, that pressure is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow on them.
I feel like we ended last week with everybody so excited from the draft, with like, holy cow, this kid who's really good fell to us in the draft that we never thought we'd have a shot at, instead of some project, right? Because that's what I think everybody thought. It was going to be, all right, we're just going to have to take best player available, some project, and figure it out. And instead, we got this guy in Dalton Connect that can play, probably step in and maybe give minutes as a rookie. And people were all fired up to, all right, we're now, a full day, a day and a half coming up on into free agency. And we have Max Christie re-signed, which was probably always going to be a thing. Like, I get it. Because now, it's just look around. Yes, there's always that couple of teams in free agency that it's like, that team signed 28 guys. Like, how is this already happening? But a lot of the team, like Denver, hasn't done anything. They're just they lost a guy. They lost Contavious Caldwell-Pope. Like Denver's done nothing. I mean, Golden State was in a position where they were just losing guys until they got Melton. So I get it. You just kind of have to let it play out at this point. There's like, and I love that you called it out, because all these people I keep saying, like, I even saw people like, did they even make a call to Paul George? Why?
Oh yeah.
Paul George isn't taking the mid-level exception. Like, you just get paid $50 million, from the 76ers. Like, that was never going to be a thing. So I don't know, man. Like, I get it. Like, I get why people are frustrated, but you also have to be realistic too. Like, they're not in a great place. That said, I think the way out of this is maybe DeMar DeRozan, because that whole thing's now gotten weird. Like, he's probably going to have to play for a very under market contract, or there's going to be some form of big trade. I just don't. The Bulls can't even really offer him that much, because they're already almost to the luxury tax, and we know that's basically a cap for them,
a hard cap.
So this question for Nelson David Nelson. It's a little hard to answer because the sign and trades could be in play for DeMar DeRozan. That's the part that makes this question a little bit harder to answer. Straight out, it's not very many teams that can offer more than the MLE. There's a couple teams with cap space left, but it's Orlando might have a little bit. Utah's probably sitting on a bunch, but I don't think that's going to be how it goes down. And then Detroit's got some cap space. I don't think that's going to be a thing either for DeMar DeRozan. So for DeMar DeRozan, doesn't this feel like it's 3 years ago? Or is DeMar DeRozan for the MLE to one of the LA teams? Maybe. I mean, but probably the Clippers would have to be a sign and trade at this point. But I don't know, man. We've got some stuff, and I would also say Utah's just kind of sitting out there right now, like with
they're just taking in offers right now.
Happening. Yeah, it's very odd situation. One, like the Pistons, who were like, hey, it's like I said earlier today, bring us your tired, you're hungry, you're poor, you're bad contracts. As long as they come with a draft pick, we're happy. Like, Utah could have been in the same boat, and they're just kind of hanging out right now.
I'm imagining, like, if Rob Pelinka or any GM wants to go negotiate with Danny Ainge right now, they're going to walk up the steps. They're going to open the door into a darkened room, and there's Danny sitting like this.
Yeah, like Mr. Burns.
It's sitting in the dark, maybe with the fireplace behind him.
Yeah, and then he just like
so you've made your way here.
Around. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It's your failure, like Thanos, right? Your failure led you back to me. Like, here we go. Yeah, and he's like, did you bring the draft picks? Because otherwise, I don't want to talk to you. You go back when you have the draft picks. Come back.
All right, let's go here. As a longtime LeBron fan, part of me feels GMs are sticking to him by making the Lakers pay more than other teams for dominating and making super teams. I don't know. Like, is there a thing where teams in the NBA don't want to trade with rival teams? Yes. I mean, we just saw it. The Warriors didn't want to, flip that. The Clippers didn't want to send Paul George to the Warriors. There's that kind of stuff does happen.
Yep.
Is it teams are mad at LeBron? I don't know that teams are mad at LeBron specifically, but do they not want to help rival teams, especially in their division or in their conference? Yeah, that's a thing that we see. We hear it all the time. Teams want to send a player out of the West or out of the East. They want to send them out of conference.
And at the very least, like if we're talking about like Klay Thompson, out of the division, like
Out of division. Yep.
Get him out of the division. That doesn't mean as much in basketball as it maybe does in like the NFL and in that,
Sure.
but it is generally kind of a thing. Like it's but I don't know. I don't know that anybody is like punishing LeBron here at this point in his career. I think most are just it's what are you going to offer? You know, what are you giving me back? Because I'm not just giving you somebody for nothing. Like I need something of real value back, and that's where it gets a little tricky.
How often do GMs get fired after free agency, after asking for a friend?
Yeah,
I mean, technically, it could be any time, but
exactly.
but not usually something that happens.
Yeah, I'd be kind of surprised.
No Knicks news. What is their next move? Yeah, what do the Knicks do from here? Like, they're one of many teams right now that really need to replace a center option here. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we said we need to talk about Precious Achiuwa, so maybe this is where we can talk a bit about him. But what are your thoughts on what the Knicks do from here?
Yeah, so first priority, I think, for the Knicks is let's figure out how we're going to complete the Mikal Bridges trade. Can we get more money moving one way or the other in that, where we can avoid some of the hard cap issues that would arise from that? But right now, I think then outside of that, it becomes all right. What are we doing at the center position? Because right now we have Mitchell Robinson, who gets hurt a lot, and we don't have much else. It's Jericho Sims and then a bunch of small ball options, which Tibbs does not do. He has historically not played small ball. So we're turning into with the Knicks of, all right, either we're kind of just picking off the bargain bin a little bit here of players who are left in free agency. But to the point you made earlier, the bargain bin's been kind of getting paid a little bit this summer out of there. Nothing, extravagant, but just a little bit more than minimums. And I'm glad you brought up Precious Achiuwa. We were texting about him a little bit earlier today because we keep kind of forgetting him because he shows up everywhere as a 4 because that's really what he is, but he can't play the 5. And Ian Begley, who covers the Knicks and the NBA in general, but he's really tapped in. He said even though they didn't issue him a qualifying offer, the Knicks are still engaged and interested in maybe bringing Precious Achiuwa back. And that would probably be one of those short-term deals, get him back in the building, and now, at least we have him kind of here as our backup, and we just move forward this way.
Yeah. Yeah, that may be the best option for them right now, given the way the market currently looks. Although there are some guys, I mean, like with the Hawks move on from Clint Capella, could you get the Walker Kessler stuff that we've talked about with Utah? There are some guys that could potentially be out there.
Yeah.
But those are more trade options, not free agent options.
Yeah. And again, until that Bridges trade is done, who knows how that could expand, because maybe they get a center through that process. Maybe they expand that enough that way.
So the signing of the Clippers for Dunn is a sign and trade. Love the Clippers offseason for them. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what the deal looks like. What is it a sign and trade for? How much is this contract, and why are you signing and trading it? That signing and trading it, that's the thing to keep an eye on here. We don't have those details as of this point, but in general, I like Chris Dunn a lot as a player. I think he fills a very specific role in a backcourt. So I think it's a nice pickup for them.
Yeah, I agree. I in a off season where the very best player who probably changes teams this summer, you lost him. I think they bounce back okay. I really do. I think I know I made the Moneyball joke, but I think they did an okay job just filling minutes. That's really all you got to do. It's just get those at bats, 4 at bats a game, right, and get up there.
There you go.
Take some pitches. Don't swing at that crap, Xavi. Couldn't hit that with a bow paddle.
Jeremy says, I want the Spurs to trade for Lowry. Not only could they offer the best package outside of OKC, but Wemby and Lowry together would be special. Yeah. I don't either.
Sure. Yeah.
An interesting combo.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, those that'd be unbelievable front court moving forward.
Chris Paul would be stoked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Why not?
Veteran minimum sleepers. Dennis Smith Jr., Yuta Watanabe, is he staying? I thought he was leaving.
No, Japan, yeah. So he's
Yeah.
already committed to playing in Japan next year. I mean, sure, I guess if somebody was like, "Hey, Yuta, we'll give you the full mid level," but that would not be a good use of money. I like Yuta Watanabe. I think he can play. I don't understand how he couldn't get consistent minutes with the last couple teams he was on, and maybe that's just me. Maybe my read is off because the NBA has clearly said no, but yeah, so he's headed back to Japan. That's why he opted out with the Grizzlies. Funny story. So I'll tell this real quick. I asked some people who like know him and are close to him, and I was like, why wouldn't he just opt in, take the money from the Grizzlies, and then like force the Grizzlies to waive him because it was a player option. And the
Mhm.
answer I get back was that would not be honorable. And I was like, oh, that's like the most like
Really?
thing. Like that's like that's pretty cool. Like I was like, all right, I can respect that, So I mean, good for him. Instead of just
That's a cool
hero.
story.
What do we say over here? Get that bag, right? But that's like,
Yeah, that's right. Secure the
he
bag.
was like, no, I don't want the bag. Yeah, Dennis Smith Jr. Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
flyer for the minimum for somebody. Yeah, sure.
Gosh,
Why
I
not?
remember when he was taking number 9, and I don't remember what year's draft. I thought he was going to be like the steal of that draft.
Well, do you remember that summer league? He like went at I think it was Lonzo, and he was like, "I'm gonna
May have
destroy
been.
this guy. Like I'm here. Like I'm gonna like go at him,
Mhm.
and really like I'm as very every bit as good as he was, and it looked like it for a year. I will say this, then everything fell apart, but kind of like Chris Dunn, got his career back on track, so he's still
Yeah.
getting jobs, hanging around, and can play a little bit.
Sometimes it's like the expectations are way up here. You don't quite get there. It takes a little bit of time for the expectations to come back down.
Yep.
And then that kind of stink of not meeting those expectations, eventually it dissipates. And then people go, oh, you know what? This guy's not bad. He could be a role player for this team or do this or that. Sometimes it just takes those expectations changing. And then the opinion on that player starts to come back around.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it was. I just checked it. It was when they played the Lakers in summer
Hmm.
league that year. That was
Uh,
also the biggest. Remember that was the Celtics and Lakers played in
oh, yeah,
Thomas
that's right.
opening night. Lonzo Ball against Jason Tatum, and
That
like
was
gets
cool.
down to the freaking NBA Finals game. Like, people were losing their minds. Like that was such a fun experience when they were both.
If D'Lo gets traded to a team with cap space and the Lakers only take back, say, 4 million, okay, so that's D'Lo at 18.7, so that's your additional 14.7 million in cap space. Um, what does that mean cap space wise for LA? I mean, it depends on how much LeBron is getting paid and what
Yeah.
happens there.
Yeah, cap space, and this is maybe I'm just being too like
There is
hyper
no cap
realistic,
space.
like
You're right.
no cap space, but yeah, I mean it would clear out room under the apron. Like, but
Mhm.
yeah, to your point, then if LeBron takes the max, then it doesn't matter because he's just
Yeah.
getting there with that. So
All right, let's go here. Keon said 2 days, no star level player wants to take an MLE, and no teams want a D'Lo package trade. I mean, we're what 30 hours in,
yeah, I wouldn't say
so far
nobody wants one.
feels
Yeah,
like no star level players coming to the Lakers. I mean, we've been saying for a while now it's not going to be like a Trey Young or something like that. Was kind of the something we talked about maybe a month ago, as maybe they'll go down that 3-star build, but it's been pretty clear that they've said no, we're going to go for more of a depth model. So no, I never expected like a star level player to come to the Lakers, but saying a role player trade is not enough to make a difference. Depends on what you're adding. Depends on how you're balancing out the roster. That's going to be the key for them.
yeah.
And then again, it's not going to be a star, but can you find players who are a couple of steps down, like a step below an all-star that fits well? That's kind of what you're looking for if you're the Lakers and you're out there shopping.
Yeah, and the again important thing, I feel like I'm a broken record on this. You have to clear roster spots. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, they could just waive one of the minimum guys. Like, they could waive Reddish or Christian Wood or Maxwell Lewis and just eat the money. But you don't want to do that. You'd rather do an unbalanced trade, like a 2-for-1, and clear the roster spots because you're already going to hard cap yourself at the first apron, most likely anyway.
Yeah.
So might as well aggregate guys. That doesn't matter at that point. So, go aggregate a couple guys and go get somebody and clear out a roster spot and go. I mean, and that's why I'm not getting super bent out of shape about like, well, DeMar DeRozan has to want to play for the 12.8 million non-taxpayer MLE. No, he doesn't. He could say, I need 25. And maybe that's enough for LeBron to be like, done. I'll take what you fit me into what's left, make that sign and trade work, and we're golden and off we go. That could still be a thing. Like it doesn't have to be the MLE. That's the most simple, easy path. But there could be other things where that could be the better way forward. So now, of course, that means you're trading out some players and you're gonna have to, backfill them, but that's not the end of the world.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Daniel here. How do you feel about a trade, D'Lo, Vando, JHS, and a first and a couple of seconds for Jared Allen and George Niang? I mean, I think when you had Donovan Mitchell speaking about how much he likes Jared Allen, that kind of said their Cavs won't be moving Jared Allen. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And are you surprised that we haven't seen the Donovan Mitchell thing come through yet?
A little bit. A little bit.
Where is that?
It's kind of the same thing where there was a moment today where it's like, wait, Derek White got extended and now they're selling the team. And there were a handful of Celtics fans who were like, are they not going to extend Tatum now? Like, what is happening? Why was the Tatum news not, the minute after the finals ended? Like, what is going on? Why is it? Sometimes this stuff takes a while. Like, I can't remember. So somebody told this story the other day, and it was about how they just couldn't get in touch with the players out of the country. And they were like, we knew we were going to get the extension done. We just couldn't get in touch with him. Like, he was traveling. And, that kind of is, that maybe Donovan Mitchell's traveling right now. I don't know that to be true or not. Here's my problem with this trade construction. What does this do for the Cavs? Like, you're getting 1 first-round pick and a third guard because D'Lo's not going to play over Garland or Mitchell. Vando.
And then you get another guard to develop.
Yeah.
And then Vando helps you with some wing defense, but that's
now if you start talking, I'm gonna give you the other first round pick. All right, then maybe that's worth the conversation starter. But
sure.
It doesn't feel like good value for Cleveland.
How do you like the Mo Bamba deal with the Clippers?
Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah. It's a minimum. I mean, sorry, no disrespect to Mo Bamba, but it's a minimum deal. He's he'll be a rotation big, maybe. Some games he won't play. Every once in a while he'll get in when you need some more size out there, and there you go. He takes on the Plumlee role.
Yeah, I'm just not a big Mo Bamba guy. Like, I watched too many games of him play here in Orlando to I'm just never gonna be like all in on him. Like, I don't know. That doesn't fit. I want to go before we go to the next one. What do you mean when you say hard cap that the first apron teams could still go beyond the first apron? So it's not a true hard cap, is it? There's ways it can become a true hard cap. There's a whole list of stuff you can do. I don't know if you want to put that there. Man, this guy's on it. This is working with the best in the business here. So if you look at that orange box, if you do any of those things that are listed, you become hard capped at the first apron. Or if you're already at or over the first apron, you can't do those things. But on there, you get hard capped there, and you can't. If you get hard capped, you can't go over it by even $1. You're trapped at underneath that first apron. You can go all the way up to it. You just can't go over it. That's the other thing with LeBron too. And I was guilty of this too. I did the math out. This is exactly how much LeBron could take. You probably don't want to go right to it. You ideally would like to leave yourself one veteran minimum spot open worth of money. So, and at that point, I would assume if it's like, hey, LeBron, you're giving up 16 million, you give up 18 million just in case. I'm sure it'd be like, fine, whatever. I don't it's not that big of a deal, but I just wanted to correct that from the other day. But yeah, so you do any of those things in orange, you get hard capped at the first apron, and then you can't go over it. You get stuck at it. So I hope that helps.
No, that's good. Especially, it's important to note because all of this stuff, especially let's face it, Keith, this time of year, you look at how many people are watching the show right now. This time of year, we do get people coming in that aren't every single day living, breathing NBA, right? They're coming in because there's exciting stuff going on, sometimes not so exciting stuff going on, but there's things happening in the league right now. So you get people coming in. So it's important sometimes that we go through some of that stuff because let's face it, there's the NBA's salary cap system. It's overly complex, and it can be a little bit tough sometimes to know exactly what everything means and what's allowed and what's not, and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna ask though. We do have a lot of people watching. We've got like 3,600 something right now on YouTube alone, and a lot more from other places. Can we get the likes up on the video? Like, but I've been watching some streamers lately. Let's get a like spike going, right? That's what I think
Let's
what they
go.
say on those.
Yeah.
So let's get a little like spike going. We should that just helps more people find the video. Here. Our subscribers are doing well, man. We've now pushed
Mhm.
we're into we're into a shared number of lore in both Lakers and Celtics legends here of number 33. Both an important number for both franchises. We're up over
Indeed.
33,000. So I like to call that my Larry Bird number, and here we are. And Kareem, right, was
Kareem
33 for
indeed.
the Lakers.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, so we're there. So yeah, if we can get the likes up, we would appreciate it. It just gets more people finding the show, and that's better for us.
And that's what we want. That's what we want. Do not keep us the best kept secret. Any predictions where Sadiq Bey ends up? Well, Keith, you were saying, I think it was yesterday, you're concerned about whether was it this morning? God, I really don't know at this point. Say he may not play this season, or if he does, it'll be the end of the season.
Yeah, he tore his ACL in mid-March. That's generally a one-year injury. So you're talking mid-March. By the time he comes back, that's probably highly dependent on the team he's on and where they're going. Someone will sign him. And my guess is what we're going to see is he gets signed to a 2-year deal where that second year is some form of like partial guarantee where it's like, all right, he made it back. Now we've got him and we can move forward. Or he didn't really make it back. He's still struggling. He's not quite ready or whatever. We can get out of it fairly easily. But yeah, I mean, I like Sadiq Bey for any number of teams. He's a pretty plug and play wing because he can really more of a forward, combo forward. But like he can defend either forward position, can switch on to some of the twos, some of the slower twos. But I think it's we're in a spot where I think teams are looking at and saying, yeah, that's like a next week signing. Like just because we're not gonna prioritize the bigger thing, I think, honestly, than the money is the roster spot. Right now for teams, it's going to be, we got to see where we're at because nobody wants to commit a guaranteed roster spot right now. So, but yeah, and appreciate the kind words too. Thank you.
Yeah. This one says, is Austin Reeves for Wendell Carter Jr. crazy? Yes.
Yeah, probably.
There's no more playmaking guards than defensive centers that can shoot than Gary Trent Jr. for the MLE. I mean, Trent Jr. is a very different type of guard than Austin Reeves, but yeah, I would. Well, he's saying keep D'Lo on that one, but yeah, I wouldn't flip Reeves for Wendell Carter Jr.
Yeah, I don't think,
and I like Wendell Carter Jr. just fine.
Yeah, I don't know if Orlando does that now too. That backcourt is pretty crowded. They've got Suggs, Caldwell Pope, Gary Harris, Cole Anthony, and Anthony Black. So that's a lot of, not that Austin Reeves isn't better than some of those guys because I 100% believe he is. But I don't know that they would. I don't know that they wouldn't want to trade from a position that maybe is still a position of need because right now it's Carter and Goga, and then they'd have to go get a center to replace Carter, so that it just gets a little messy. I mean, we just covered it off. There's just not a lot of centers out there.
So Keith, while I'm pulling up the next question here, just a cool Austin Reeves story. I went to that camp the other day for the Reeves brothers camp, and Austin pulls up in an old pickup truck, and I was talking to one of his buddies, and I said, how's Austin doing with all this? Now he's been established in the league for a while and all that. Like you guys been his friend for years and years and years. I said, did you notice any change in him? Does it change, his day to day or anything like that? He goes, no. He's like, he's the exact same Austin. He's like, in fact, he wears the same old t-shirts. He wears the same. He has not bought any clothes. He said since he got his contract, he's bought one thing. Literally, he goes, he bought a pair of golf clubs. That's it. I'm like,
yeah,
awesome.
I knew it was the golf clubs. Yeah, I remember his agent saying, I think the only thing he's going to buy is some golf gear.
Yeah,
like because he just wants to play golf and play basketball, like which is awesome. Like and date Taylor Swift last summer, I guess.
Yeah. Andrew says, I'm okay if the team returns as is. Maybe we make a trade at the deadline. The West is so stacked, being patient is important. Does the mid-level exception expire? Yeah, as soon as LeBron signs that full max, they wouldn't have the ability to use an MLE.
Correct.
So
Yep. Yeah.
there it is.
So it technically doesn't expire. It would just become unusable in that situation. What does happen with the MLE is after the trade deadline, they start to prorate per day. They start to go down. It used to be in the middle of January. They push it back basically 2 months.
All right, let's go here. I like this. You need to give Danny Ainge a second rounder just to get in a meet, just to get the meeting.
Right.
Like that's your penalty just to get in the door.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
But leave your second rounders at the door.
Somehow you feel like I feel like too, it's like one of those meetings where you feel like you walk out with a big smile on your face, like it went well, and then you're like, well, wait a minute, what? Like I didn't want to buy the special like rims on the tires and the special clear coat like on there. Like what happened here? Now all of a sudden I'm in for this car for like 10 grand more than I meant to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a Miles Bridges market? It's been quiet. There probably will be, but he's not going to be like the top of teams lists.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be more like once the market thins out, which is already thinning out, then we probably hear some movement there.
Yeah, so there are two pieces shortly before free agency opened. Jeff Peterson went on record saying, we made it clear to Miles Bridges, we want to keep him here in Charlotte. But no one was going to really come out of the gates, I think, with a Miles Bridges signing. I think teams are just going to be super cautious with that. Now, he could get back. I mean, clearly he's back in the NBA. It's going to take a little bit. And I think some may say, let him kind of continue to rehab himself and his image in Charlotte. And we're not going to be the ones to jump in on that. And if Charlotte really wants to keep him, my guess is Charlotte was, let's see what kind of falls our way. The Josh Green thing did. Then they can move on Miles Bridges if they need to after that.
All right, let's go here. Thanks to our front office for giving away Alex Caruso, KCP. Dunn would be a fire defensive ad. I mean, that would be a good defensive backcourt for sure. If they still had all those pieces. JJ said, why do players, when they re-sign or sign somewhere else in free agency, always put a player option in their final year? Is it because of the money or something else? Well, I mean, players want it because it gives them control, right? I mean, it allows them, if they have a great year and there's more money out there for them, they can opt out and go get more money. If there's not, they opt in and they get what they had before. So why not have that ability in there if a team is willing to give it to you? It doesn't hurt you, right? Worst case, you just stick with the deal and you pick it up and there you go. And you get more and more a year at that dollar amount. Best case, though, you ball out that last year or that third year of a 4-year deal, and then you get an even longer deal for more money. So that's, if you're a player, why not ask for a player option to be in there?
Yeah, my buddy Danny LaRue works for The Athletic, works on Dunked On. I worked with him at Real GM for a while. Danny has the best thing where he says, when you get a player option, you always trust the player to make the correct decision. So that is either opt in if I know I'm not worth this, or I opt out with, if we go that direction. You're not watching a Lakers stream, my friend. It even says so right on the screen, in Trevor's background, everywhere. And you clicked on front office show to get here. So
it's here.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. There we go.
Come on now. This is the Equal Opportunity Exceptionalism podcast.
Well, there's no way Rob can't have already made a trade or signed someone. Well, he hasn't. Not already. If the Lakers do nothing, Rob should lose his job.
If he did, talk about no news. Like
Rob right now is refreshing Twitter like they have no idea what I've done.
Yeah, he's sitting there laughing. He's like, "Ha, these fools! I've done 7 trades."
Just wait. Woj, fire up your good Lord tweet.
Yeah, exactly. No, but you know what? Maybe Rob is like, I believe in the rules fully. July 6th, I will start making my moves.
Oh, no.
The moratorium ends.
He's
your
like
barbecues.
he's like Mitch Kupchak, but worse when it comes to following rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if the light turns yellow, Rob hits the brakes.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It's like the anti-Magic Johnson. Magic's out there giving love to everybody. And Rob's like, nope. July 6th, we can't do
Oh
anything till
no.
then. The rules are.
Hood
Oh, we
Shafino
missed that one. We
Cam.
completely skipped
No.
that question. I
We
didn't
can
see it.
skip
Was it
that
just
one.
more complaining?
Yeah. Well, this one. How would you guys rank the
Yeah, this is
Blazers
a good one.
offseason
We
so
didn't talk
far?
about
I
this.
also heard that the only way they trade Grant to LA is for 2 firsts.
Heard the
Thoughts?
same.
Yeah.
I've heard some of the same stuff that they don't. Trailblazers are not. They don't view Jeremy Grant as a bad contract or an underwater contract at all.
Right. Just
So you're
everyone
gonna
else
have to
does.
give up. Yeah, true. You're gonna have to give up real stuff to get him because they don't feel like they need to move him. DeAndre Ayton might be a little bit of a different story
Yeah,
there.
true.
And they're very open to listening, and I think have been for Robert Williams and a handful full of other guys with that. So Blazers offseason so far, I think it's kind of incomplete. I loved getting Denny Avdia. Like I think that is an outstanding pickup in that trade. I don't even necessarily mind giving up the picks in that trade because I think one of the problems teams make is they go way too young. I think that's a little bit of an issue there, and I think they traded a little bit of future draft capital. Obviously, got off Malcolm Brogdon's contract. I think Avdia is a great pickup for them, and I love the Klingon pick once they clear out one of the other centers and really give them runway to playing time.
I mean, from a buyer's perspective, if Jeremy Grant was like 28, okay, but he's not.
Yeah.
And that hurts. That's so tough to be like, okay, when you know, like, because if you need to reflip him in a pinch in like a couple of years, that could be a tough task. And that's the issue.
That contract in year 4 will not be very good or probably overly movable. Year 5, it will flip back because then it's an expiring contracts are always movable. But yeah, I think Portland's, I mean, talk about having to have patience. Like this is just getting started. I keep saying this. This is really almost like year 1 of the rebuild for them because the Dame trade happened so late. They didn't have a chance to do anything else. I mean, they traded Dame and then it immediately turned around and trade Drew Holiday. They did a couple moves in season, but it really was like this is like the first full transaction cycle for them of rebuilding this team. So it's just going to take a little while for them to kind of build things back up there in Portland. But I'm optimistic because I like Scoot Henderson, and I think he's going to be a player. I think it's going to take maybe another year, but people were like all over like being out on him, and I can't I don't know. Like I'm just not out on Scoot. I think he'll be a good player eventually.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just takes guards a little bit of time, which maybe there's a little bit of JHS conversation there. Why are you so worried about that, Mike? With the old picture of me, why are you always worried about that, Trevor? We need to win. No,
is that supposed to be now?
You can't win now when you can't spell now. So no, but
I was like, is NOE like some kind of weird abbreviation? I don't understand.
I'm concerned about future flexibility in general because I look at what does a post LeBron era look like and recognizing they might need to go into a rebuild. That's all. And what if I'm the Lakers, if I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice that future draft capital, I want at least the possibility to turn the stuff I get back into future draft cap or back into some kind of draft capital into the future. That's just how I would personally look at building out the roster if I was, running things or whatever. And different people may have different ways of looking at it, but that's my approach.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is where you and I rarely do we differ. I feel like you have to maximize every bit of having LeBron and this version of AD right now. So I'm all in on go make moves if they're the right. You're not just trading picks, just trade them. But if you can make the right moves, that's why I was always a little Zach LaVine. That one's always felt a little odd to me because I don't want to give up that for him. But let's say there was a world where the Lakers could have got in on let's say Donovan Mitchell wasn't extending and it was like an open market for him, I probably feel a lot better about throw in a couple picks. Now that probably fits for you too because he's young enough to fit post LeBron. So maybe but yeah, I mean, if I don't know if Stephen Curry turns around tomorrow and's like, actually, you know what, I'm done here. Yeah,
well,
give up whatever it takes to
sure, but that's Steph. When we're talking about, Jeremy Grant is, okay, are you giving up in a sign and trade for DeMar DeRozan? Are you giving up like a first or 2 firsts or something? That's and then you have to factor in, okay, if you go get DeMar, he might help you this year, but his value is going to expire on this roster, most likely.
Squid, you might have jumped late, but we talked about the Celtics sale at the beginning of the show. We jumped off that.
All right, let's go. Keith, my friend Hauser loves you. He wants to party with you. Go party with Keith. Where do you see Zach LaVine going, and what would be the trade? I mean, we heard Sacramento like a while ago, but other than that, it's been pretty quiet.
Yep. Yeah. I was told directly by some people, and Bulls folks have reported this too. The Bulls are willing to offer picks to get off Zach LaVine's not a thing. They are not. Yes, sir. They're willing to offer picks in a Zach LaVine trade if they get back something that's worth offering picks for. But they were very clear that this is not a thing for them. They are not just straight salary dumping Zach LaVine. Otherwise, they could have done that probably to the Pistons a couple days ago, and it'd already be done. So that's not a thing. Is your friend Doogie Howser? Because that'd be cool. I'd probably party with Doogie Howser. Did I ever tell you about my idea for a TV show?
No, but I'm scared.
I think there should be a TV show called Doggy Schnauzer MD, and it's like a dog, like a little schnauzer, but he can talk and he can actually do medicine. And the MD stands for medical doctor.
Here's your jump to conclusions, Matt. No, you know how that would work? That would work as a cartoon.
A cartoon or like a Disney Channel show.
Sure.
Like right. That Dog with the Blog show was on for years.
Or go the other way with it and make it a totally vulgar cartoon, like almost Family Guy style.
Yeah, that could be good. Yeah. I think he's constantly killing people. He's like, what do you expect? I'm a dog. Like, why am I doing surgery?
Right.
I'm a schnauzer. I'm up here with my paws, like walking on people while I operate on
them. Somebody turns on a vacuum or something nearby. Oh no! All hell breaks loose.
There's like a thunderclap, and he starts barking.
The UPS guy drives by.
Yeah, he's like doing an open heart surgery and drops a treat in there.
So no!
It's got a squeaky toy. I don't know what just happened.
We wound up way off track.
Wow.
Oh no! It must be getting late.
You can insert the Adam Sandler meme. We're all stupider for having listened to this crazy wood.
We award you no points.
Yeah, Billy Madison meme.
All right. Respectfully, Lakers making moves just to make moves is as mid as it gets. If no Brooke Lopez, it's just moving deck chairs on the Titanic.
Aww.
If they're deck chairs that fit better, then might. That's the question. But I get it.
Deck chairs you can use as flotation devices, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, do they have flotation devices on those deck chairs? Miles Bridges to LA. We kind of already talked about Bridges, but just want to say shout out there. Dave said, "How can the Hawks become relevant? Seems like a negative cold is hanging over this organization.
Could this be supposed to be
Cloud? Yeah. Could this be Trae Young related?
I don't want to put it on Trae Young. Like Trae Young's a hard star to build around because he's ball dominant and he's not very good defensively. So that like you have to nail all the right players around him if he's going to be everything if you orbit the entire franchise around him, you have to get the right guys around him. And they're trying, and they have tried. I think this is kind of a reset year for the Hawks. I'm kind of honestly a little surprised that Trae Young wasn't the one who got traded. I thought they might have kept DeJounte Murray, but maybe there wasn't a big market for Trae Young, and that's
Yeah.
why this kind of went the way it went. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, how can they become relevant? You got first steps, they're on their way. Dig yourself out of the cap and tax mess you made. Now you got to make sure you extend the right guys and see what. Hopefully, the Risache pick is a hit. Get Jalen Johnson extended on a good contract. I really like Jalen Johnson. I think he can play and just keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's what you got to do, and maybe see what the Capella market looks like, and go from there. So somebody said the point wasn't the deck chairs; it's the Titanic. I know, that was the joke.
Yeah, that
was the point.
Pretty familiar with Titanic.
All right. Nicholas said Bulls fan writing all the way from Austria. Oh, welcome in from Austria.
Good day,
are the Bulls likely to hold on to LaVine and rehab his value? They could. If the market really is that bad for him, maybe him getting on the floor and proving that he's healthy could rehab his value somewhat heading into, say, the trade deadline in February.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be a thing that you could do. Yeah, see, to prove he's healthy, get him out there. It feels like that's like the Bulls' whole season. It's like, hey, let's see if Lonzo's healthy and get him out there too, and we'll just keep rolling guys out here to prove that they're healthy, and then we can trade them. But yeah, I think that may be how this has to go, because I think teams are, I don't know, on LaVine. Let's see what it looks like. It just feels weird that they're going to go into the season with him, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I was looking around today, and I'm like, nobody jumps out at me as like the team that makes sense for Zach LaVine right now.
Yeah.
Like there just isn't. It's the contract's too big. So yeah, but
it's a challenge. Can Lakers sign DeRozan and trade for LaVine?
I mean,
yes.
Sure.
In theory,
yeah.
should they? Is another
some salary cap gymnastics, but yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I mean, do you really want to be the Bulls?
Chris Paul about to retire. I mean, it could be his last year.
Yeah. Yep. Might be. We talked about him this morning. That contract is set up to do a lot of different things. If it doesn't, I don't want to say doesn't go well, because it could go incredibly well, and the team might just not be very good, and he might be like, all right, I'd like to go to a contender now, please.
Yeah.
And that might be best for the Spurs too, to help him get there. So yeah.
Next question is asking about Lonnie Walker. What's going on with Lonnie? Where does he go?
Yeah, weird year with the Nets last year for Lonnie Walker. Lost his rotation spot, and some of that was Cam Thomas just became like this incredible scoring run for a while there. So that was a big part of it. But I've always liked Lonnie Walker quite a bit. I thought he played well. I thought he played well for the Lakers at points during that stint with them. So I don't know. It feels like one of those weird careers that just kind of got off track, and I don't know that it's ever really going to get back to more than a cycle of minimum contracts. Like kind of in the same boat. It's weird. Both former Lakers guards. Blake Beasley's kind of in the same position. Right?
Yeah.
Who knows what happens with him? He had a really nice year last year too.
He did.
Just and then Doc came in and was like, "Nah, I don't want to play a guy who can actually shoot. Let me put other guys."
We don't do that here.
Yeah, well, why would we bother with that? Like, hey, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, these are the kind of guys where you wonder, does the money dry up and then they're left taking a deal that probably doesn't truly reflect the way they played this past season? Sometimes that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We've seen that.
Yeah. And then sometimes you just got to get the right fit, right? Find the right team that you can fit with and rebuild your value.
Do I think this is possible? Get Trae and Capella? No, it's too much salary.
Yeah.
It's too much salary.
Yep.
Too much salary to go try to get. These Lowry Markkanen trades that I see in here. I mean, you'd have to be willing to give up whatever.
Chris Haynes checking in, saying, "Would you rather wear a Lakers hat or a Sixers hat?" Jeez. What is it you always say? What you're saying? I'll root for the Meteor.
Yes.
I'll root for the Meteor. I'd rather shave my head bald, but that's probably not fair because I'm probably headed there anyway. That's the actual Chris Haynes. Thanks for checking in, Chris.
Yeah. Good to see you, Chris.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks for checking in here.
No new intros. I'm all out of intro ideas. I did what I could with the intros. Nothing's gonna top the 2 aprons and the hard cap anyway.
No, that will go down in history. That will go down in history.
People keep tweeting me and then putting hashtag 2 aprons and a hard cap, and it makes me so happy.
Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't even realize that. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah,
I got to start including that whenever we're promoting the show.
Yeah, we should.
All right, here we go.
I guess it wasn't the real Chris Haynes. Oh, well.
Oh, that's sad. All right. Will from Texas said, my friend Bradley is a big Clippers fan and has been feeling down lately. Is there anything we could tell him to cheer him up about the Clippers' future? Well, yes, Will, there is something. I'll give you a little bit of consolation here. And that's that Bradley's feelings aren't real because Bradley's not real. Because Clippers fans don't exist, just like leprechauns and unicorns. I'm sorry. I could
hold on. This is the aforementioned Bradley from Will's chat.
Will is pretending to be 2 people. Bradley, we know you don't exist.
Oh, Chris texted me. That was Chris. He just texted me. That was him.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching, man. All right. So, Brett, I just love this is the aforementioned Bradley from Will's chat.
I'm sorry, Bradley. I am joking. I am sorry.
I'm sad,
as far as
because of LAC. Well, now you have to tell us why you're sad. Don't bring us down.
Losing Paul George.
Well, no, he said I will not miss PG.
If you won't miss Paul George,
then I guess there's your reason to not be sad. You didn't give you didn't pay Chris George or Paul. Now, man, everything fell apart with Doggy Schnauzer. I should have just kept that to myself and went to the grave with it.
So, I mean, I guess the consolation is the Clippers are going to have a beautiful new arena next year to go visit. So there's something to cheer you up.
I mean, I'll give you want a real answer?
Yeah.
The Clippers cap sheet is now incredibly clean.
There you go.
Incredibly clean. It's pretty much Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell after this year, and then a bunch of salaries that are like 10 million-ish and under. So we might be right back on Clippers big spender watch as soon as next summer. Because if you went in with Kawhi, a couple other guys like make 10 million and under, if you could move Norman Powell out, that's like you could have like 80 or 90 million to spend next summer. That's well, I guess Harden would still be there too, but still you're pretty clear. Even with Harden, you could have like 50, 60 million to spend. So there we go. Hopefully we picked you up and made you happy.
Yeah. There's some good news there for you. And the other thing, you're going to smile in a few years when you're looking at Paul George's contract and you're going, he's like 37 and we're not paying him that.
Yeah, so that is definitely true. Especially if he's playing like 45, 50 games per year. Then they'll be really happy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny. I've seen a bunch of people saying this because I guess they did a whole thing about the amount of toilets in the
about how great they are and how many.
I will say I want to get out there because it does sound pretty cool. Like, and they did a lot of stuff to make sure there's like TVs where if you do need to leave, like you can stay connected to it. I really feel like they did try to build a arena that's like for the game. I tell people this all the time. My favorite place that I've been is I don't know what it's called now, but it's the field house in Indiana where the Pacers play. Like they built like that's just like they obviously love basketball there, and they built what it feels like is like you're walking into a gym, but like it's just massive because it's an arena, but like it feels like you're walking into one of those small gyms. Like they built it to honor the game, and like it was very much built where it's like other stuff happens here. That's cool. But we built a basketball arena. Like that's what we built. And it sounds like that's kind of what the Clippers are doing. So I'm excited to see what happens with that.
Yeah, we'll see how it looks. All right, we'll go rapid fire through this last few. We've been on for a while here, and I've got like a bunch of other things to get to. So let's finish off with What are some guys the Sixers may be able to target to build around their big three? I mean, Kyle Lowry's a name that we've brought up quite a bit.
Yeah.
They've already added some pieces. I mean, Kelly Oubre, retaining him, I think, is big for them.
Yep. Let's just use this as a way to run through some of the best free agents available.
Sure.
So point guards, Tyus Jones. These are not necessary for the Sixers, but just best free agents available. Some of these guys could go to the Sixers. Tyus Jones, Markelle Fultz, Kyle Lowry, Monty Morris, Patrick Beverley, Spencer Dinwiddie, Campaign, Dennis Smith Jr. We don't need to keep going. Shooting guards, Buddy Hield, Gary Trent Jr., Malik Beasley, Luke Kennard, Alec Burks, Lonnie Walker, Josh Koji, Evan Fournier, Justin Holiday. Small forwards, DeMar DeRozan, we've talked about a lot. Caleb Martin, kind of an interesting guy still out there, I think. Isaac Okoro, Sadiq Bey, who we talked about earlier. Samania Fontecchio, believe he's going to resign with the Pistons. Gordon Hayward, Joe Ingles, Doug McDermott, Jetty Osman. Then power forwards, LeBron, but that's not real. Miles Bridges, Kyle Anderson, Torian Prince, Precious Achiuwa, Jay Crowder, Haywood Highsmith for there. And then centers is where it gets rough really quick. Mo Wagner, Xavier Tillman. Then you're down into like James Wiseman, Chimezie Metu, Dario Saric, Daniel Tice. Those are like a couple good vets there, but a couple lottery ticket kind of guys. So
somebody asked, by the way, what's the status of Chetty Osman? He's a free agent, and we'll see where he ultimately winds up.
Actually played okay in San Antonio last year.
What do you think about Lonzo to LA? I mean, if he gets bought out or something, he needs to let's just focus on Lonzo getting back on the court and being healthy.
Get back on the court.
And that's it.
Yep. Doesn't matter where it is, just play again.
Right.
Like that's all we really need. Yeah, just get back out there and go. So
All right. Well, everybody,
we did it.
Thank you for joining the show tonight. We appreciate that. Obviously, if there's big news that happens tonight, like there was last night with Paul George and everything, we'll jump back on in the morning. If not, we'll do a recap show tomorrow evening.
I thought you were about to say we'll go live, and I was like, absolutely will not.
Oh, no.
That would be a big bet. That dude who wants to party with me, we can go party, man. Here's how I party at this point in life. Watch a little bit of Big Bang Theory, and I go to bed. There it is. That's a big night.
That's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That way you're ready to break down new trades and everything tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully.
All right.
Hopefully. Yep.
Let's hope so. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining. Till next time. We'll see you and stay safe.